Hi, my video on Euphoria has been delayed a couple times. I scrapped it.
Delete that too.
And here I am reshooting something else. It's not like the same script or anything. I'm just doing it again. This is because I guess Euphoria is a bit of a tough show to talk about. It has a little bit of everything. There's drugs, there's abuse, there's penises. It can be really chaotic and difficult to talk about. We're gonna talk about what I thought about it as a whole. Because I only just recently jumped into the show. I only recently jumped into it because I saw a clip on Twitter. And it was this scene right here.
I'm so glad you guys are back together.
We're not back together.
You're not?
No.
I mean, I was gonna say no, but why are you saying no?
Because we're not.
I know, but why do you sound so definitive about it?
I wasn't being definitive.
It sounded like it.
No, I mean, she just asked a question.
That you didn't have to answer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But you did.
I don't understand what we're arguing about.
You and your tone.
But we're not back together. Yet.
I mean, why not just say we're working it out?
You literally just said you were gonna say no.
Right, but that's me.
Meaning what?
Meaning that when I say it, it means something totally different than when you say it.
Okay. It might seem in your head, Maddie, but it's the same word.
Yeah, but it's also the
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
I promise, Maddie, I'll change, I'll grow, I'll be better. I don't deserve you, but I love you. Please, when I go to college, move with me, marry me, have my babies.
I was like, dang, that is some good trash TV. I have to watch this ASAP. But underneath all of that sensational, terrible dialogue is a show about Rue. She's a teen who is a drug addict. She's trying to hold it together after her dad passed away from cancer. She obviously has some underlying mental conditions and issues, and I appreciate the way that HBO took an earnest approach into showing us how fucking shitty it is to be born into a world where you have all of these disorders like bipolar and OCD, and you're falling down a really hard path like addiction while you're dealing with this massive loss and you're a teenager. And it also doesn't shy away from the abusive behaviors that she engages in and the dark things that addicts are willing to do in order to not get clean. I think that d.a.r.e tried to make it seem like Euphoria including drug use into its show was a way of glorifying drugs, and I'm gonna have to disagree with that. I disagree usually with the way that journalism gets framed nowadays, but with the scenes from Rue's special episode alone, that's enough to disprove whatever they have to say about glamorizing drugs.
New rule, no more wasting my motherfucking time. You want to use, but the least you can do is be honest. Own that shit. You feel me?
The scenes with Ali in season 2 were enough to disprove that this was a glamorization of drug use, because my skin was literally crawling when Rue was on the steps of the Narcotics Anonymous meeting, and she's about to leave and they have that encounter, and she just throws all of the experiences that he shared with her in confidence back at him like that. That just shows how low you're willing to go in order to just continue your patterns as an addict. And it continues to show in the scenes with her mom and her sister, treating them like shit. It was really hard to watch. Give them all Emmys. They deserve all the awards because wow. It was painful, really painful to watch. Rue is sort of the embodiment of a person who wants to be understood so badly, but she can't communicate that pain. And then she becomes that person that she never wanted to be. She becomes an addict that abuses her family, abuses her friends, and abuses drugs. The reason I find the show to be so chaotic is because of all the concurrent storylines that are happening all at once. It gets really messy, but it kind of goes with the setting, because if you remember being in high school, this is exactly what that was like. Full of hormones, full of teens being assholes, and sometimes drama that no one fucking asked for. That was high school.
Hey, you not having fun?
No.
Yeah, me neither. You wanna do Molly? Am I hearing this correctly? You want to tell McKay that you made out with Daniel at the carnival and on Halloween?
Yeah, but I don't have to say it's Daniel.
Bitch, that's the craziest idea I've ever heard.
High school.
The abuse storylines with Nate and Maddie are really important to address, because I knew a lot of girls in high school who had boyfriends who hit them and would just apologize, and they would just be with them the next day like it was nothing. This is something that's super prevalent, and it's important that we see Maddie go through the entire journey of lying to let him get away with something that he did to her, never getting that punishment that he deserved for that, to cutting him off, like cutting ties with him, and not continuing to deal with him on a regular basis, to acknowledging that he is not a good person. And that is an amazing accomplishment for her, because she's a teenager. A lot of teenagers confuse what love is, and they have a very fucked up view of what love should be. It's extremely common among teens, and it's even common in adults. So the fact that Maddie realizes that, that's super important. We should be talking about abuse amongst relationships and stuff like that. There's a lot of topics in this show that they're hitting on really well that could be newsworthy, but instead they're like, oh, glorification of drugs. What's really sad is to have a character like Cassie to have the total opposite experience of Maddie's with Nate, while experiencing and witnessing all of that context on Maddie's side. I'm not sure if I like how that's being laid out right now.
You can fucking leave or you can get into bed. It's up to you.
But maybe at the end of season 2, it's gonna prove me wrong. We're gonna understand that maybe there's some underlying reason why Cassie acts this way as a result of like maybe the abandonment of her father or something. I don't know. I'm just really upset with where her character is willing to go in the justification of being with Nate.
Who said Nate was a bad person? Rue?
It doesn't matter.
Because if we want to talk about people, let's talk about Rue.
Rue's a good girl.
And I'm not?
I didn't say you're not a good girl. Rue's had a very hard life.
Not harder than my life or Lexi's life.
It's different.
Right. Her dad died and ours just stopped calling. I don't know which is worse.
We see through the lens of her being Cassie being Maddie's best friend. She knows that Maddie was abused.
I'm pointing out the principle.
What principle?
The don't fuck your best friend's boyfriend principle.
That is what I am trying to tell you, Mom. They weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. God!
So whether Maddie and Nate were dating or not, I find that to be irrelevant here, Cassie. It's kind of gross still. So I would say that's an L for Cassie in season 2. Further L's that I want to talk about this season are Rue getting that suitcase from that crazy ass drug dealer, bro. She's terrifying.
Rue, if you screw me, I'll have you kidnapped and sold to some real sick people. I always find a way to make my money back.
I'm really scared that this is gonna have some blowback on Fez, on Rue, on her family. Like, what if... I don't even want to open up this can of worms because I have so many theories as to what could possibly happen as a result of that woman not getting her money. Yeah, that's scary. Bitch better have my money. More L's. Fucking Kat. What was Kat's storyline this season? That was trash of her to do to Ethan. I'm sorry. That was real trash. Real fucking trash. But yeah, overall, I really enjoy Euphoria. It's obviously a really entertaining show. I think it addresses a lot of things that teenagers go through that are dark, that we've always kind of known that teenagers go through. It's a tough time. It's a really tough time. If you've seen Skins UK or d.a.r.e or any of those shows growing up, you obviously know that, yeah, it gets dark. But I think Euphoria does a great job at showing us that being an addict is a very, very hard life, hard path to go down. And you don't want to go through that. So if you find yourself in a very, very tough situation, reach out. You have people who care about you, and I'm sure you can find someone who is willing to help you out. I think that the way that Rue was portrayed at her lowest, seeing her go through all of that shit, like the near-death experiences, the almost getting trafficked, stealing from Fez and his grandmother, starting fights between her friends to not get into an intervention. All of that was so painful to watch that it made seeing her get into recovery in the next episode so much more powerful to her journey. And I also really liked the parts with Cal this season. Because last season, all we saw from his character was, oh my God, he seems like a horrible person. What did he do to Jules? But we sort of come to find out that he didn't know Jules' age. He has been kind of leading a double life. It's hard because you don't want to sympathize with Cal. You don't want to sympathize with Nate's family in general. You really don't. But then you see that there's so many layers to people and the things that they go through and their history. Cal honestly seemed like he was gay and he was in love with d.a.r.e, that guy from his past. He was really in love with him. But he got someone pregnant. So he decided to go forth and have that family, and that ended up being a really big regret of his. He even tells Nate that, I regret you, son.
Living a double life? Not my biggest regret. You are.
All that entire storyline is fucked. But to see Cal come in and pee all over his living room, or like his entranceway, and just tell his whole family off and just leave, that was a whole mood and I loved it. Can we have more Cal, please? Ali's argument with Rue after the NA meeting made my jaw drop. I could not believe that she was that mean to him.
Tell me, shut the fuck up. I'm not some parent you can just treat like shit.
Yeah, well, good thing nobody's really looking you to be a fucking parent.
Yo, excuse me? Excuse me? When I sit across from you and tell you something about my life, you didn't get to use that shit against me. You cross that line again, we're done.
I really could not. I couldn't, but she was. And it was all because of where she was going. She was spiraling. She was like, this is it. Off the deep end. I'm done. She was just trying to make people hate her so much at that point because she figured she wasn't worth saving. She just wanted to keep digging that hole. It's so sad, but I like how well done it is. This show does all of that really well. Yeah, that's all I got. Thanks for watching. Please join me next week. I think I'm gonna have a video for you guys about Eden Yeager and my idea of what his concept of freedom is and what I thought about the manga ending, which I know a lot of people have a lot of opinions on, and I have one as well. So stay tuned.